In the meantime, whoa. In the meantime, you're good. In the meantime, we're going to have Robert Kazazian presenting some bits of his programs that he has behind the scenes. He'll actually be presenting that publicly on our calls at 8:30. There is a caveat though, and it's really, really important that all of you hear me out on this part here. Robert is hosting our Wednesday calls in the entire month of April, and those calls will not be recorded. They will not be live streamed. So I do need you guys to be able to join ideally from your computers, because the things that he's going to go into, some of the systems, the processes, you're going to want to take lots of notes. Okay. If you're not a big note taker, I promise you'll want to see it from a decent sized screen, because there will be points where he shares his screen as well. So thank you, of course, thank you to the Godfather, to Fred, because he has been on point about every Wednesday with some fluctuations, but he's always told us like, hey, I'll be back. He's never left us for very long, and he's been consistent with that.
Well, this time with this project I got going, I might not be on the Wednesdays. You're gonna have to join my private community that I've put together
and see what you've got going on. I probably will. So
anyway.
But yes, so with that being said, thank you to Fred for always giving back to us, and thank you to Robert for stepping in temporarily for our month of April. Very excited to announce those things. More will be announced and posted in our GPS group. And then with that said, let's get into general housekeeping items. If you can, cameras on for everyone except for Robert, because I'm going to get the live here up and running in just a minute. So cameras on, please level up your engagement with this mastermind. I promise you will be happy for it. It'll be better for you when you level up your engagement. You retain this information better. You're able to apply it easier and faster as well. If you guys have any questions, comments, things to contribute, I would like for you guys to put that into the chat box or use the reactions button to raise your hand. I don't think I had anything else for housekeeping. I'm sorry I jammed that in really quick, but I wanted to be very respectful of everyone's time this morning. Fred, well, it was already started to get recorded, so I'm going to work on the live while you take it from here, okay?
Okay, super. Hey, good morning, everyone. I have a phenomenal guest this morning, Rob. He had a 9 o'clock hard stop, but I still wanted to get him on, especially with my last day, and you're going to see why. And while people are gathering, I want to take a little time, because I don't want to get him rocking and rolling. But Robert K, make sure you remind me that, as we get into, like 9 o'clock, when I get my thing is that we quickly come back and tell all of our late comers, we tell all of those about, I want to push your program, because folks, you're going to miss out. Anyway, remind me, Robert, because a lot of people didn't hear. It's not going to be recorded. And I know a lot of people, walk or do other things, but his Robert K stuff, man, I'm telling you what, you don't want to miss that. So anyway, I'll bring that back up, and I wanted a few more to gather here. I only see 41. I'm waiting for the other 25, 30 to show up.
I'll be back, Fred. I'll be back.
Yeah. Okay,
I'll come
cool.
back right about 9:05. I'll actually set my alarm for you.
Yeah, just remind me to keep pushing, especially 9:50 before anyone starts dropping off. Okay, because we got to remind them that your stuff is not recorded, because it's proprietary and what you do, and you're wanted by the FBI, and we got to keep you really secret. So, actually, he's the Witness Protection Program. He turned in one of the biggest mobsters, not even in the U.S., but in Italy. I mean, he turned them in, and they're after him. So he can't.
It's funny. The last name of that guy was DeFalco, though. I'm still trying to tie this all together.
Anyway. Well, cool. Anyway, guys, hey, welcome. I am always on the search for the best of the best for all of my group, for my Indians, for my soldiers, for my wonderful group. I'm always looking for the best that's out there. And, we have a lot of coaches on here, with Tom Martin and Coach Debbie and Coach Curtis and we have all kind of coaches. Robert's a coach. So, Robert Kay's a coach. So, as I always tell you, you should change coaches every 60 days, in my opinion. You really should. But a lot of people sometimes right now, I don't use that word, can't afford. Right now, you are spending and investing your money in other places you may not be able to commit to someone like myself or Coach Curtis or something. But every now and then I'll come across some things and oh my gosh, Rob Corbuccia, let me tell you something. Your stuff is unbelievable, man. And for $7 tryout for 1 month. Oh my gosh, what I got in 1 month and the stuff I stole the stuff I looked at about his, I ripped off like he did. No, but no, seriously, there's people that talk and then there's people that do, right? And he's done both. Really, really successful operations in the Keller Williams franchise and, big offices, big teams. So you want to listen. He's going to bring you the best he's got. And at the end, when he, because he's got to stop at 9, I'm going to tell you why I like it. And anybody on here, this is so affordable. I said, I want everyone to know about it because for a $7 month and try him out, it's incredible what you get in that 1 month. This is incredible. And he's now in the midst of his program, 100,000 in 6 months. And I'm watching, it just got kicked off. I'm watching these people's results and what he's pouring out to them for the little bit that they invested in the 6-week challenge. So, and I'm going to go into all that so he doesn't have to spend time on that, but he can get right into what he wants to share. So Rob, you take it from here. We've got 50 on. We're going to have a few more stragglers, but let's give all these 50 here the best you got, my friend.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for such a powerful introduction. It's great to have you here and have you on board and sharing all the good stuff with all the people in terms of I'm just grateful, Fred, because I know that the moment that I got a chance to connect with you, I knew that you were thinking on a much higher level and that you were thinking about things differently. And I said, okay, this is the kind of guy I want to definitely stay in touch with. So thank you, Fred, for this opportunity. Really, really grateful for that. So everybody, I am excited to be here, and the big question is it's one of those questions where if you only got about 15 minutes in life, right? So let's look at it from that perspective. If you only got 15 minutes in life and you had somebody next to you, whether it was a Bill Gates or whether it was a Steve Jobs, whoever you're a fan of, right? Somebody that that if you're looking at it as a person that you can model in your career, what would you ask them during those 15 minutes? What would you consider thinking about, right? Especially if it's somebody that has been where you've been, has done what you've done, has gone through the journey, has gone through the cycles. And I'll get a little bit into about my history in a few minutes, but I want you to just set your minds in a way where, you're just thinking to yourself, wow, you know what? I was just having lunch with Rob. And these are all the things that Rob has done in his career. These are all the things that Rob has done in his coaching business, in his training business. These are the things that he's done when it comes to listing 100 homes per year by picking up the phone and calling expired listings. What would I ask him? What would help me right now in my business that if I were to do this one thing, right? If I were to just shift this one thing in my business right now, I know without a doubt, I can get more business, right? And I want you guys to have that mindset right now because, again, time is short, but also time is precious. And if we approach this the right way, everybody in this room is going to get massive, massive value. So I put my banner up just to kind of give you an idea in terms of the challenge that I'm running this week. And I do several challenges every month or every quarter, depending on what's going on in the business at the time. And this is one of the challenges that we have. And just to kind of give you guys a little bit of the results that's going on right now, when you look at the folks within the challenge and even the folks within my VIP group, right now I'm up to about close to 30 VIP members. Out of the 30 VIP members in the last 90 days, they've closed. And this is like just recent. They've closed over 30 million in sales volume. So when you look at it, on average, each person is doing about 1 million. Now you have, of course, your 80-20, your 20% that's carrying the majority of that load in terms of production. but it just shows that for people who are investing a nickel to get a quarterback, they're making a great investment on their time and their energy. So that's to kind of share with you, Fred, some of the results that's happening out of our group as well. So moving on, one of the things, just to kind of give you a little history on myself so that you know what kind of questions you want to ask. I've been in the business since 2004. And when you look at my history in terms of management, when you look at my history in terms of running companies, FedEx office, which used to be Kinko's back in the days, I was a multi-unit manager, and I took 5 locations to being #1 in the country, right? So when it comes to operations, I'm an operations kind of guy, and I'm an operations kind of person where I look at the systems, I look at the models, I look at the tools. And my question is always, what can I do to make this easier for myself? What can I do to make this different? How can I leverage my time? How can I leverage my effort so that this way I don't have to work as hard as most people do? So just understand that my mindset is always the path of least resistance, because here's my belief. The less I work, the more I earn. So make a note of that. The less you work, the more you earn. So if you're right now working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and you look at your check and your commission checks, and they're 2,000, 3,000, that means you're doing a lot of rentals as opposed to becoming a listing agent. So when I jumped into the real estate business, my goal is, how do I become a listing agent? So that's where my mindset is. So with FedEx Office, President's Club Award winner, I also have a background in 3D design, worked for CBS News. We won an Emmy in the process. So I've been licensed since 2004. I had a team that we were doing 225 transactions per year. So in doing 225 transactions per year, that means we had a model. I knew who in the organization belonged where, and how do we leverage that so that we can be able to close that many deals. And me personally, I was responsible for listing 100 homes per year. Plus, I used to be a team leader for Keller Williams, team leader CEO, which basically you run the operations of the market center, and your primary focus is recruiting agents. And this was back in Fort Lauderdale, right around, I pretty much wrapped up my career as a team leader during the time of COVID. And I'm also a certified NLP trainer and coach, and I focus on helping people get certified in different areas of neuro-linguistic programming. But how that ties into sales is that I remember in my first year of real estate, who could take a wild guess, and you can drop this in the chat, or you could, verbally say it, but who could take a wild guess in my first year of real estate? How many transactions did I close in my first year of real estate? Anybody? Drop it in the chat. Let's see, put a number in there. I know if you're driving, you're driving. Okay, so let's take a look. 3, 5, 0. Ooh, Holly, you're close. Right? Everybody, 10. I love it. I love it. So in my first year of real estate, guys, I'm going to divulge the number. I did 1 transaction, and 1 transaction was not what I was expecting. I mean, who goes into a job expecting to make $8,000 an entire year as a commission-only salesperson? I sure as hell did not want to go into a position making $8,000. And I hired a coach. It's funny because I had a coach at first, and it was a group coaching, and I got into activity. And then I hired a one-on-one coach, investing $1,000 a month. And what I realized is during that time is it wasn't the coach that was having the challenge. It was myself. It was my mindset. So I was resisting the activities that was given to me, because here I am, Rob Carbucia, President's Club winner, right? Resisting the feedback of somebody that was already listing 100 to 150 homes per year. And that is where most of us fall short. We fall short in terms of our mindset, in terms of just really relinquishing control and surrendering to the advice and to the feedback that we hire people to give us. God knows how many great classes Fred has taught here. God knows how many great speakers Fred has had here. And if you were to ask yourself, how many of those things did you put into practice in the last 7 to 10 days? And you don't need to answer that question. right now, verbally, but ask yourself that question internally. Did you do the things that you said that you were going to do? And that was me. So I realized that as time went on, I'm over here expending $1,000 a month, and I only had one closing, and I had to support a family of 4. And that was 2 young children. They were 2 and 4 years old at that time. Right now, my kids are much older. They're in college, graduating, thank God, right? But back then, that was the struggle. And towards the end of the year, I got myself a brand new coach. And this coach listened to me. She listened to what I was saying. She listened to how I was saying. She listened to the fact that I could actually set up appointments. I was able to set up literally 3 to 4 appointments per week. That's what I was doing. And I didn't realize what was happening because I would go on these appointments and I would never take the listings. And since I was never able to take the listings, I was just completely getting discouraged. It's like going into battle and being defeated every single time. So she went ahead and she listened to my calls. She says, Rob, you're doing a great job with the conversations, but did you do this one thing? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Did you pre-qualify the appointment before you went on the listing presentation? And I'm like, pre-qualify? What are you talking about? Pre-qualify? Who pre-qualifies? Have you seen all the pre-qualification questions before you go on an appointment? It's like 20 questions. It's like I worked so hard just to get that one appointment. And now you want me to lose the appointment to ask 20 questions? I mean, if you guys have ever felt that way, put your hands up or put a 1 in the chat. If you've ever felt like, no way am I going to lose this appointment because I asked them this 1 of 20 questions. And here's the one question that was the most powerful one. The question is, if what I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, are you planning to list your home with me when I see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock?
That's a great question.
That's it. And then you pause and you let them answer. And you sit in the quietness. And why is this powerful? Why? Because of the fact that you simply already closed for the signature before you even left your office. You simply closed for the signature before you left your house. And by doing this, it prepares the person's mindset. In NLP, this is called future pacing. And this is what the scripts are based on. So all the scripts that you guys have probably researched and you looked at, whether it's Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, doesn't matter. They're all based on neurolinguistic patterns. So for me, mastering this technique was critical. And I went ahead and my mindset was, okay, let me go ahead and do what this coach is telling me. But she told me one thing, guys, and I want you to write this down and remember this, because this is how I coach the guys in my group. If you do not get a listing this week, you will lose your license. Think about that. So, wait a second, you mean that I can't pick up my kids from school? Well, if I don't get a listing this week, then I can't pick up my kids from school. So what do I do? Well, guess what? You find someone else to pick them up from school. Right? That's how I grew up, man. Somebody else would bring me home, but I would find a solution. So focusing on solutions rather than the problem was the biggest breakthrough for me. And one thing that I have focused on in teaching this class, right, which right now we're covering many of these topics here, how to master your mindset, lead generation, and we're going to cover today ChatGPT. But one of the things that I've learned is if your mindset is not in the right place, if you don't look at things from a quote unquote artificial do or die circumstance, then you won't get into action. And that's the one thing that I want us to shift today if we haven't, right? And I'll open up for question and answers in a minute, but I want us to shift into what will happen if I don't succeed this week? What won't I have if I don't succeed this month? What will I not be able to do with my family? What will I not be able to do with my friends? What would I not be able to do for myself? And then you ask yourself the question, what can I do? Right? what are the possibilities? I mean, think about it. How many companies, how many jobs can you have where you pretty much work about 200 days a year out of the 365, and you could take 6 to 8 weeks off vacation, 6 to 8 weeks to go travel, do whatever you want to do? I mean, how many companies do you know, or jobs do you know, that you can go in with a regular high school degree and make 6 to 7 figures? It's a privilege. It's an honor to be a licensed agent, and we have those possibilities. So focusing on that is a skill. So take a screenshot of what I have here, everybody. Identify what is your current real estate niche, because one of the biggest challenges that I've noticed that agents have is that they open up the door to their office, they look outside, and they get overwhelmed because they don't know who to call. They don't know who to reach out to. They don't know who to talk to, or whatever, or even what to say. Well, the moment you identify at least an audience for yourself and who you feel comfortable with, that can become your niche. I went to church back then, and in my church in New York, and there was over 300 people. Well, guess what? My niche was helping people in my church find a home. That was it, because those are my friends and family, center of influence, people that know me, like me, and trust me. So if you're not part of an organization of some sort, then it's time to become one, so you could identify a niche. How do you identify your niche? Who do you want to work with? If you want to work with people that you love spending time with, that you think are awesome, start working with those people and identify them. Take a moment, look through your database. How many people are on Facebook? How many people are on Instagram, LinkedIn, in your cell phone? How many past clients do you have? Add up the total. And when you look at the entire total, multiply that times 10%, because 10% of those people are going to give you business within at least a year and a half, if you stay in touch with them in a very systematic way. So I just want to leave you guys with that, because here's what ended up happening. And I'll jump into Q&A. What ended up happening to me is when I started following the systems and I started pre-qualifying people during my listing before my listing presentation, I started to take one listing per week. So that week, I did not lose my license. That week, I did take a listing. For the first time in 365 days, I took a listing. My skills were there. My personality was there. But what wasn't there was my mindset. Everything else was there, guys, but my mind was not in the right place. And the moment I switched my mind and I looked at things from a different perspective, my life and business changed almost magically. And then from there, I got a different coach a year later, and he taught me how to list 2 to 3 homes per week. So I was listing 100 homes, and that was Ren Jones, who's the founder of Vulcan 7. So it's one of those things that, guys, mindset is so critical. Charlie has a question.
Yeah, Charlie, you go ahead, and then we had another question. Let me take this other. Charlie, hold on one second, because it's in the chat. Rob, it was a good question. What if they say no, I'm not?
No, I'm not. What?
When you ask the question, if you like what I say and all that, are you ready to list your home with me today? And they say no, I'm not. What's your response?
You know what? Honestly, okay, great, thank you. And then you keep going through the pre-qualification.
Yep. You follow. Somebody else said ask a follow-up question. That's correct.
That's it.
Questions are the most powerful thing you do, because as you said, with the NLP training, that's what it does. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead. Who was that? Charlie had a question. Go ahead, Charlie. Charlie. Hello. Okay. Charlie must have had to get off or something. Okay. Any other questions? If you ask questions, you lead conversation. Jenny G, amen. Anybody else? You got Rob here for another 5 minutes. I put his link in the chat. I'll tell you folks, I was blown away when I looked at the stuff, I said, $7. What, nah, you know what? Sounds too good to be true. It is not this case. I'm telling you. And I've stayed aboard now. I don't know how many months, Rob, 3 months, I think.
Right.
So at $45 a month or whatever it's been, but what an opportunity to work. And the nice thing I see all the conversations going on. Of course, I'm in there fishing a little bit too, to be candid, waiting for the snatch. But what a great, I love the community that they have for 40 to some dollars a month. But try for 1 month at $7. I put the chat in their chat. You got to have people like this in your life. I just told you last week, if you were on the call, how much I just invested in a coach, and it was 5 digits. It was not, $7 for the first month. Trust me. So, and I've been doing that all my life. So you need to do that. You need to invest in yourself. You need to invest. Someone's going to help you get over your mindset, as we're talking about now. David, go ahead, buddy.
Hey, good morning, guys. So I'm just getting started on this thing. I've got a real passion for community building and bringing communities together and that sort of thing. So I'm going to start door knocking with that as my goal instead of real estate at all. Really, I'm going to not be focused on the real estate aspect when I'm doing that. So I guess my question is, what's the best way to bring it around to the real estate, when I'm not starting there, because I'm going to be knocking on people's doors, getting phone numbers, addresses, email addresses, with the purpose of finding people to help me set up these events and create amazing events in my local park that I live in. So I just don't want to do a bait and switch, I don't want to get a bad name in my community for getting people's info and then being real estate information.
Right. Yeah. So your basic, as you're knocking in the neighborhood and knocking on doors, and the ultimate goal is to build relationships, right? And then I'm not sure what your script would be or dialogue to be able to connect with people in terms of coming out to the events in the park. It could be, hey, listen, I'm here in the neighborhood and we host these local events to connect the community. And we was just wondering if you wanted to be a part of that, right? Maybe that's your approach. And then as you're having that conversation, you're building a rapport, because again, everything is about rapport. If you have rapport with the person, then asking questions like, wow, so how long have you lived in this address? And where'd you guys move from? Right. So those are 2 questions that are really good. And at least it gives you a little bit of history. And then from there, obviously, I'm assuming that you have some sort of mailing list or an email list where you're able to capture people's contact information so that you can invite them to when the next event is going to be. My big thing is, and Fred knows this, and it's funny because when I coach the guys in the group, I know, listen, my coaching program, honestly, one-on-one is $1,500 a month, and that's 30 minutes a week. And they get to be a part of VIP coaching, which is $47 a month. I use the Facebook group to build community. That's what I use it for, so that people can hear me.
That's what I like about it. Yep.
Yeah, they listen to me and they know, listen, this guy's legit. He's not trying to just sell me, snake oil, right? And that's the one thing, David, that if you create a group and you start adding all your people that you are meeting in the neighborhood into that group, and then potentially start posting, whether it's the events and all the great things that are coming from the group itself, when they go to your Facebook profile, they will see that you are a real estate agent if your Facebook profile is a billboard for you being a real estate agent. You know what I mean? So that's the subtle way of being able to do that and build a relationship. And as you're building the relationship and you have an open house in the neighborhood, then you can ask them the question, who do you know that might be looking to buy or sell? Yep. That's how I would do it.
Okay, gotcha. So okay, I guess that last thing you said, I think it answered it. I was kind of timid about approaching them about buying or selling, but maybe I should be asking them if they know anybody who's interested in.
Well, not at the first day.
Not at the beginning.
No. I mean, after I build rapport, I understand that part.
And you don't even have to, you're out there giving. And today, I know we're meeting later today, so we'll go over that, but you're doing the right thing, and but get out there and just drive your ATV, authentic, transparent, and vulnerable. And just say, man, I
Okay.
love the community. I love it. My mom's been a realtor here all her life, and I'm now a realtor, but I'm here. I love my community, and I want to do something for the community, and ask questions. Hey, what events would you like to see? Hey, what would be, a highlight of an event for you? More children's event. Do you have children? And then the other thing is not so much important what you say there at the end, but when you walk away, how good of notes you take. So you have a really good database, right? That's the most important thing. But now I like it. I mean, that's what this business is all about. Relationships. And number one, the other thing is, what business are you in? Anybody get $5 if you get it. I'll WhatsApp you right now. $5. Okay, too late. Up. You're in the information business. I've been saying it for 3 years. We're all in the information business. The more information you show up there with, saying, I'm very proud of what's going on in our neighborhood. The prices have gone up to 18% last year. Know your number, blah, blah, blah. They go, whoa. That's what attracted me to Rob. As soon as I looked at his stuff, I started reading, whoa. And I said, this guy knows what he's talking about. I said, he's the kind of guy I want in my life. Right. And I'm paying him $47 a month. I have it, because he gives me value. Right. And if you give them value, you're going to get it, right? You're going to get it back. So, all right, cool. Anybody else? Cause Rob's got to run, man. Hey, Rob, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. I really appreciate what you're doing, because, the industry for people that are like newer or starting up and the work that you're doing in there, I just love it, man. So great job. Keep it up.
Thank you, guys.
All
And
cool.
yeah, if there's anything that I can do to help, by any means, jump into the VIP. Fred has the link. Every week, 30-minute training for free. And then from there, we do VIP coaching for pretty much an entire hour. So you're getting an hour and a half every single week. That's 6 hours, right? Within the VIP.
Yep.
And that's the ultimate goal is to help you just get acclimated to the business. You and I get a chance to connect. It's like buying me a cup of coffee. So right now you have 60 people in here. I'd love to have 60 cups of coffee, right?
Yep.
Go ahead, buy a cup of coffee, hear me out, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, $7.
Yeah.
Try them out. When I saw it, I said, how do I resist? So I put it in the chat again, in case you just joined. This is Rob. Great meeting, Rob. When I get back next month, I'm going to have you back. Okay.
All right, brother. Mahalo, everybody. Have an amazing day.
I want you to do an NLP session for them. Okay.
I'd love
Super.
to.
Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, guys. Hey, let's continue from last week. And by the way, if you're on the call right now, Robert K, if you see his little sign up there, Tech Bits, he is taking over starting next Wednesday for an entire month. Matter of fact, 5 weeks, Rob. You got to take it 5 weeks, Robert.
Okay.
He's taking 5 weeks, maybe 6. Take 6.
I don't know about that one.
But the next 5 weeks, okay? So it's not going to be recorded. That's really important, because what he shares, you almost have to be at a laptop, because if you absolutely can't be, then that's one thing, but it won't be recorded. Okay. And he's going to be sharing, I guess, documents and stuff with them as well. Right, Rob?
We're going to start from the absolute basics, your phone and your phone number. And over the course of 4 to 5 weeks, this is implementation. This isn't talk about things. This is open your computer, get ready to go. I'm going to share my screen and you're going to implement. And
Yep.
we're going to do that over 4 to 5 weeks. And we will start with what we call an agent, a baby, a newborn agent. And by the time we're done, when someone goes out and takes a look at them, they're going to look like they've been in the business for a couple of years. And
Right.
that's our goal here.
Yeah.
So,
Get your folks
please
here.
come.
If
Yes, it is
you're-
not recorded, and I'll be very clear about this. I'm going to be doing some data encoding on the backside. If anyone determines that they're going to record this session, I will stop all sessions for everybody. So I got to be very clear about that. I cannot be on camera recorded live.
Yep. Okay, super. Fantastic. Make sure you show up. Okay, listen, getting back to last week, one of the things that I keep getting bombarded with are tough sellers. I'm going to give you 2 best career advices I've been giving people since I was a young manager. Okay. And that is that with sellers, 2 things. With this kind of market, ignore the comparables Ignore the comparables. And you're going, wait a minute, hold on one second. He didn't just say that, did he? Ignore the comparables. They don't matter. You're going to go, wait a minute. No, a second. Just look at one thing. Buy in. How do people buy real estate? See if you can quote me. How do people buy real estate? They buy real estate by process of, process of
Elimination.
Thank you, David. Yay. They buy by process of elimination, not selection. So what do you want to focus on in this kind of market? You want to focus on active listings only. Now, not saying you don't know what's sold and you don't know what the pending is, because that's where you get your absorption rate. In other words, how many houses are out there, how many you're selling, you take it, divide that number, and you say, okay, we got a 6 months of supply, Mr. Seller. How do you want to act here, right? But mainly what your competition is. It's like, have any of you dated in any time? I was in the dating world, not about 4 years ago, 5 years, whatever it was. And these apps, swipe, maybe not swipe. So that's how people buy real estate. They're out there dating, folks. So you can't have an old house with no lipstick on it, blah, 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 blah. But you got to convince your sellers when you go there. The first thing I go over is, what are the actives? You're going to be competing with for a swipe? And I mean it, they get it, and they get it quickly. Matter of fact, have a dating app over. Don't let your significant other see it. And just show them, swipe. But that's the key in this kind of market. Okay. I hope that helps. Focus. I've got, I don't know how many, 3, 4, 5. Is Ashley on? Ashley just took a listing because she took this principle in there. Now, Ashley's not that experienced and she's newer in this market, and she went up against other people. And I said, Ashley, she was all worried about the comps. Well, the comps say this, comps, I says, why are you even pulling comps? No, don't do that. One of my coaching classes, don't pull any comps. She said, Fred, oh my gosh, the guy gave me the list. He just loved what I said to him. Here's where we are. Here's what we're competing with, blah, blah, blah. So that's important. Okay. That's number one. Number two, hear me out. Whatever you're doing, just pause for a second. You got to get this. You have exactly once you get the listing, because in this market, every listing's a hot potato. Is Paola on right now? She has one right now. Oh my gosh. I actually got on the phone with her and stuff, and this guy is just busting her chops, blah, blah. Well, you're the one that priced it, blah, 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 blah. And what happens with a listing, as soon as and I don't care if you know these people, they are going to ask, if you don't know them, it's a lot more severe. Once you take that listing, the moment you take that listing and you are on your way out the door, I don't care how sweet and wonderful the appointment was. I don't care how smart you looked. I don't care what you think. And don't ever tell me your customers love you. That'll change like that. I've had people say, oh, they love me, love me, love me, love me. Every time I hear, oh, they love me. Who cares? They're not going to love you tomorrow if their house doesn't sell, blah, blah, blah. So when you leave, it's got to be a business. But I want you to know within 1 hour, the thought's going to pass through their head, and it's going to say, oh, I wonder if we're going to get any showings today. I hope I made a good decision. They're thinking more than you. Oh, you're thinking about, oh, got the listing. Yes. Well, let me tell you something worse than no listings or bad listings. Okay. And especially when sellers are not in sync. So here's what you do. Even more so, this has got to be very, very exact. In this market, especially, as soon as you leave, I want you to go pull over somewhere and say, Mr. Seller, thank you so much for putting your trust in me. I will not let you down. I am going to give you everything I got, and I'm going to get back now. I'm going to start pushing it out on social media, blah, 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 blah. I want you to know how much I appreciate you and trusting me. That's number one hit within an hour. That's number one touch. The other thing you want to do, I missed one thing on the appointment. You've got to convince people your job is not to sell the house. Your job is to be a marketing manager. Your job is to market, make people are showing it, make sure people are out there seeing it. Your job is to go out and elicit an army and show them everything, how you're going to get the co-brokers involved. You're going to throw out there a unbranded package for them so other realtors can put their name and face on it. You've got to show them screenshots of how Coldwell Banker picks it up, Remax picks it up, Keller Williams picks it up, because you marked it okay to advertise. You've got to be exact with this for the seller today. So leaving, you call them within the first hour. Call, you can even call and say that. So, I'm just on my way back to the office, Mr. Jones, or, Sally, and I was just I got to tell you how appreciative I am that you put your trust in me. I want you to know I don't take this lightly. And they're going to go, well, Fred, that's okay. Yeah. Hey, well, good. Yeah, man. I really love you. Yeah, I really like you. No, you don't. You're lying, because if I don't do this, you're going to hate me. But no, thank you very much. Okay. So that's your first contact. Then when you get back to the office, 2 hours, 3 hours goes by. You make sure you get it out on a post, or you make sure you do something, and you talk to someone about it. Even if you call your mother in Cincinnati and say, Mom, I just took a listing. What do you think about this listing? She says, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Then you say, hey, Mr. Seller, I've already started making some calls. I want you to know I got a fairly good reaction, my initial reaction. I'm working on this. So that first day, you've got to hit them a minimum of 3 times. Minimum of 3 times. You want to get your mortgage broker to immediately jump on this, hopefully the first day, prepare a nice sheet for them, what it costs to buy this home, blah, 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 and try to get in their email that night. Hi, I'm Fred's personal mortgage, blah, 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 blah. This is what I did for you. I got news for you. Once you set that up, the first 24, 48 hours, because watch this. I hope you can see my finger. Here's the dot when you took the listing. Okay, it's here. 1 second. Let me do it this way. I gotta use that. What do you call that? Hold on a second. Let me annotate. Where is that annotation here? Blah, 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 blah. I have somebody I work with, a coach that really uses that well. And I have whiteboards. Where's my annotate here? Okay. Well, I'm not going to find it right now. Where's annotate? Somebody. And I'm pretty darn good on Zoom. I usually see it. Oh, I got to be sharing my screen. That's why. Hello. Why didn't someone tell me that you should be on Zoom? In YouTube, being an expert in Zoom in this day and age, right? All right, let me hide my controls. Let me do this. Annotate. Where are you? Here we go. Annotate. Okay. Can you see? Okay. So, yep, I should have had a blank screen, but here you go. This is where you take the listing. Okay. That's you. There's going to be one decision in 24 hours, and either they're going to have a thought in their head, I made a good decision. I made the right decision. This is what's going to happen that 24 hours. And it's going to be this. Then you're going to call them that night. Then your mortgage broker is going to call them. Wow. Then your next day, you're going to make sure you call them. Wow. 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 Bingo. You can't do anything wrong. You screw the photos up. Oh, that's okay, Fred. Don't worry about it. They've already made that. You're talking about, neurolinguistics programming. They've already made that decision. Now, here you're on the listing appointment. Hey, Mr. Seller, thank you very much. Oh, you're such a wonderful, and you leave and you're all excited. Well, you got to get things done. You got to get this. And, it takes marketing, it takes 3-4 days. You don't call them for 24 hours. Okay. The first 2 hours, if they start thinking about it, and they may not make that, but it's going to happen. If you're not talking to them, I guarantee it's going to happen in 48. And if you're 24, if you're really lucky, it may not happen until it's 48. But if you don't touch space with them, I guarantee you at this point, they're going to go, I wonder. Now you don't call them another day. Oh boy, I thought I'd have a showing by now. Mr. Seller, you call him 4 days later. Mr. Seller, I'm having a photographer. Wow, I just heard from him. I don't know. Now, okay, whoops, I'm trying to go straight down. Now you have an issue with the photographer. He whatever, his camera broke. He can't show up. Oh my gosh, I made a horrible decision. I'm stuck. And that's what happens, folks, with listings. Okay. Believe me, that is not theory. It's real. It's real. I've managed thousands and thousands and thousands of unhappy sellers. I've managed because I used to do all that with 1,000 agents. You and I ran Coldwell Banker, all that kind of, and I was the guy, the regional, when they all got, and they started hearing the little things they did wrong. The way they described the property, the way they did this, when you write up your listing, you should be sending it back immediately. You try to get it back within 24 hours. Say, hey, read this description. Are you good with this? Stay in touch with them. Okay. That's my best advice. that in this kind of market, really, because now you go out and get that listing that Rob's talking about, and there's nothing worse. I wish Paola was on the stress that this guy's calling her, and he's beat her up. He got me on the phone right in front of her. He says, it's her fault. She's the one who came up with the price. And it's not true. That happens all the time, Liz. I saw Liz going, I mean, that's what happens. It's your fault, not theirs. And and again, it was his mindset, right? So anyway, that's my advice. Somebody else, give us another one. We were on a good roll last week and we had to end. Somebody else, give somebody your best advice out of your years in the business. Just a nugget like that. Anybody else? Come on, share it. Hey, Chris W. Yes,
It's Lori.
Who is that?
It's Lori.
Hey, Lori.
It's really just that, keeping in touch, making sure you make that once a week phone call at least. And, even if there's no showings, just telling them what you are doing or what the market's doing,
I'm
It's
glad
really
you brought,
important.
yeah, I'm glad you brought that. One more advice, Laurie, on top of that. Thank you for bringing that up. This business is not about, you got to show, right? What I always do is when you open up, and I did this with Paola and her seller, I opened it up, I showed them the activity, I showed them how much response came in off the MLS, I printed the history, I printed the fact of how many hits he got off his website, I got this. You do, because if you call and say, hey, let me tell you this, you say, hey, listen, best thing to do is jump on a Zoom. I just want to show you your activity. It went out to 300 agents. You're right. The MLS activity showed. And then I went down to Google Watch. Give me an address. Anybody give me an address you've had listed for more than a month? Let me share my screen. This is important, folks. This is critical. Give me someone that gives me a tough listing that you've had. One sec. Come on. Where's my Google? Okay. Give me an address of a list, or put it in the chat. Give me an address of a listing you have listed, and maybe one that you're getting a little concerned about. Anybody? Let's go. Nobody has a listing? Come on.
Can I just say it out loud?
Yes.
101 Northeast 16th Court.
Hold on. One more time.
101 Northeast 16th Court in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33305. This isn't my listing, but it's the one I'm going to be doing the second open house for.
If I were the agent, and this person is really, because I've talked to David about this, so now I'm on with you. Hey, Laurie. Hi, Fred. How you doing? How was this week? Come on, Laurie, play along. You're my seller.
1 second.
How was your week?
You're
Hey,
the homeowner or you're the realtor?
No, you're the seller. I have your listings. Or David, let me play
Well,
with David.
it's been kind of quiet, Fred.
Yeah.
So, I was just wondering what kind of feedback are we
Activity.
getting?
Yeah.
Where's it being shown?
Yep. I want to show you now. I don't have the time to go, print off the MLS history, print off her website stats. You can get those off the stat. You can get, if you have a private, I do a single property website for all my higher end listings and stuff. So I show them those. Hey, Lloyd, yeah, hey, by the way, I want to show you this. And I show them this, this, they only get to see this once. And just a reminder, but like this seller here, the one that Paola had, I said, Robert, what was his name? I forget. Anyway, Jim, I said, look, I want to show you something. This is really important for you to understand. You're blaming Paola, but it's not her. I said, look, she could be I'm going to say this. And I said, she could be a matter of fact, she's not. She's one of my top people. She cares more than anybody else that I have. I said, but let's say if she wasn't, she was my biggest dud. Well, Redfin's got your house. Listen, I got it out to Trolley. I've got it out to Movado. I got it out to BEX. I said, I've got it out to Fort Lauderdale. I went out and enlisted this army for you, Estately. I've got Remax doing it. I said, I got Coldwell Bankers doing it. I got condos and condos. I've got point-to-point home, Rocket Homes. Oh my gosh, they're doing it. I've got Compass Real Estate to take it on for us. I said, I've enlisted an army for us, and these are all the activities. Now, again, remember when I listed it, I said, selling a home, it's process of elimination. Well, people are seeing it through all these different sites. Now, when I go to my realtor.com and show, I even got Corcoran. Now, Corcoran's supposed to be a high-end company, but they picked your home up. I've got now, Mr. Seller. Now, look, when I typed your address in 36,000 hits, you think that your house is being exposed. Now, this may not be all your house as we get through here, but All these people have thousands and 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 thousands. I do it exactly like that. And thousands and thousands. Look at this. Trust Larry Real Estate. He actually put a video up for us, man. That's fantastic. Great guy. So, and I'm showing you, not telling you. So I just want you to know it's out there. So this seller goes, wow, he's looking at it. So I said, she could be the biggest dud that I have, but it's not. She's one of my greatest one. But please, it's not her. It's the market. We got to get realistic with the market. He's only about $125,000 over price. So, but you see that, David? You see how your address popped up? Boom, right? So that's it. That's in this market, man. I don't want you to do all this work and go over and join Rob's mastermind for $7.47 a month, and you learn how to list listings, which you will with him, I promise you. But you now get it, and now because there's nothing worse. The thing worse than no listings are overpriced listings. And the thing worse than not having any sellers is having a seller that is absolutely, going to bust your chops, right? And that you don't ever need to be not in control, not control the way we all talk about it, but where you've been so smart and that they respect you so much, they can't do what they did to Paola. There's no respect. And it's not her fault. It's just the fact she wasn't aware, right? She didn't have so that's my best advice. I'm sorry I took so much time. Anybody else? But Lloyd, thank you for that. That reminded me of that. It's the show, not the tell. It's the show, not the tell. And if they can't get on Zoom, well, Mr. Seller, I'm going to put this in writing, and you show them. And what I do, I would have just had a little video clip. Today, folks, with video, YouTube, and then I uploaded to YouTube as a private video. I sent them the link. You should see my one that I had. I mean, just send them videos. Because most people except Chris Dove, our one seller can't, send them little videos. I do voice recordings, and I do a lot of them, voice recordings and quick videos. They love it. You show, you don't tell. You show, you don't tell. That's a powerful bit of advice. Trust me. Okay. Anybody else? Come on, give us some bit of advice. Any feedback, any questions of me? Questions?
The other thing, if people aren't using showing time, you should always use showing time, because it asks the agents for feedback and then email that to the seller all the time. So
You don't have to.
directly from them.
You can set it up, Lori, where it gives it.
I
to us.
know.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. You want them to be so informed. That's the business you're in, is the information business, but you got to show, not tell. Showing time's a great example. The reason I use single property website, I get really good stats off of it. The Lux VT program, the luxury program that I have, I do for agents. It has the stats on it. And I said, look, you have all this exposure. People have been swiping too much. Let's catch them now. Okay. All right. Any questions of me pick my brain while you got me here? You may not see me again after I take this back. No, just kidding. Anybody? No? Come on. Okay, come on. Somebody give another bit of advice. I don't want to be the guy just on the pedestal here. I mean, on my soapbox here. Come on. Somebody get on the soapbox. I'm going to call on somebody. Shannon Highland. Let's go. Bit of advice.
Advice?
Aha, called her. Some best advice for someone.
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
No, come on. No, sorry. You're new to the business, but you've got some advice to give us. Come on. Don't get what? Don't ever get frustrated.
Yeah, well, there's that. Yes. For me on a daily basis, unfortunately.
We've had that conversation a lot. But yeah, listen,
Yes.
Anyway, everything is about by the inch, it's a cinch, guys. By the inch, it's a cinch. And I really by the yard, it's hard, right? By the inch, it's a cinch. And anytime you have 1 ounce of frustration, I want it to be a needle on your dashboard. I want it to be a red light. If there's fear, the same way, my soul is not connected here. I'm using my left brain. My right brain's not connected. My soul's not connected. And I mean it. Try to make me angry. Now, if people say, well, you seem angry, Fred. You seem intense. Yeah, I am. I'm intense, but I'm not angry ever. I can't get angry. Someone try to make me angry. Good, try it. Sandy's with us, folks. Wow, what a seminar last Friday. Oh my gosh, she blew it out of the park with the multifamily investing. So I'm so glad I took advantage of that. It was fabulous. Sandy, thank you so much for that.
Hey Fred, good morning. Yeah, sorry, I was running carpool this morning, couldn't jump on, but as far as advice, my advice is, you know what? Start your day with nothing but an abundance mindset. Everything is an opportunity. Whatever doesn't come to fruition wasn't meant to be. You're out nothing. You lose nothing. You're starting with nothing, so you can only gain. You have nothing to lose. So that's how I start my day. Any deal I do is just icing on the cake. If it doesn't happen, what did I lose? Nothing. So.
And Sandy's in that business where you've got to put out an awful lot to get anything going. I mean, you know, how many offers did you submit on multifamily when you first learned that?
Oh my gosh, well over 50. I was submitting LOIs. My goal was at least like one a day after underwriting a property. Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, folks, it's not the journey. I mean, it's not the ending, you know, it's the process. It's the journey, you know, stay in the sandbox, you know, just have fun, you know, get some sand in your eyes. It'll come out. It'll come out, you know, and again, I'm going to say this other bit of advice, and I irritate people with this a lot, but I'm sorry, just who I am. I can't help it. I can help it. I won't help it because I love it. And that is just the way I've lived life is, you know, I just had someone who's, you know, I do a lot of marriage intervention, this kind of stuff, really bad. I mean, some really horrible marriage. This one particular client, oh my gosh, it's probably one of my most challenging. Well, it doesn't look like it's going to work. So when it looked like it wasn't going to work, we had a call and she was on her way home and she pulled over. She said, I'm just sitting over by the beach. And so I said, yeah, well, we're going to have one more shot at it. And we're going to do this and this. She says, I said, but you know, I have to tell you, I said, 12 years, I got it, but I'm telling you, I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. She says, and she started crying, right? And I, of course, you know, some emotion there. And I said, but she then said, well, you know, and the thing is, she went right back in to her enabling mode. Because that's what happened. There's this enabling for 12 years, blah, blah, blah. So, and I said, and I watched her and I said, and I listened. Because remember, if you're my soul train, the mind, the spirit mind, what's next after the train? It's the will, and then it's the emotions. She had her emotions out front again. Because I knew what she was going to do. She was going to go home and soften it up a little bit, blah, 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 blah. So I said, listen, stop. So-and-so. I know how old she is, right? She's 52 years old. I said, let me ask you a question. You got to get this in perspective. Divine intelligence and divine integrity is trying to serve you right now, and you're weeping. I want to see a smile on your face. Let me tell you why. Number one, you've got to get perspective here. Let me ask you a question. 55 years ago, this is the first time she heard it from me because a lot of my clients hear a lot. 55 years ago, did this bother you at all? Did it bother you? No. And that's almost what you just said, Sandy. No, it didn't. I have the second follow-up question. 55 years from the day, you want to talk about perspective? 55 years from the day, remember my ego soul chart, the ego on the left, the soul on the right. 55 years from the day, you think it's going to be a concern of yours? And I really made her think about it. I said, I really want you to get in that mindset. It's okay. Just accept. Our job is not to make the music. You know, God, whatever she calls it, God makes the music. We're the dancers. You know, let's just dance to the music. I have a lot of music in my life, even currently. I don't like it, but man, I've been practicing my dance steps and they're really, it's getting pretty damn good. So get that perspective. She finally got it. What Sandy just said, that you know, it's okay. And next, have an abundance mindset that life is not happening to you. It's happening for you right now. And you are going to guide your life by emotions. You can't do that. Same way with this business, same way with anything else in life, right? So thank you for that, Sandy. That's good. That's right. Doesn't matter. Okay, that's it. Anybody else? We're going to wrap her up. Nope. Okay. I'm going to turn her over to our wonderful, wonderful host. Host or hostess? What is the proper term? Is it